Hello again, everyone. We are back. It's that time yet again. It's Joe Deacon and Randy Kindred here to discuss high school football for our prep preview. And it's now week 7. We're into the final third.
We're just flying by. We're going like crazy.
Yeah, it's a fun time now because it's the real playoff push, and the teams
it
really
is.
know what they've got to do here.
Yeah.
So, first game we're going to look at this week is going to be Normal Community. They're still number 7 in Class 7A, and this week they're visiting Champaign Centennial, looking to gain some ground in the Big 12 conference race.
Yeah, they Normal had a nice win up at LincolnWay West last week. They were also ranked in the top 10, and kind of a defensive struggle. Normal won at 17-7, and Centennial. I know the weather was somewhat of a factor, but they were actually ahead of Danville in the fourth quarter last week, 10-9. They ended up losing 17-10, and Danville's undefeated and tied with Peoria High for the Big 12 lead. So Centennial's obviously a team that Normal cannot take lightly, and obviously I don't think they will. I know the Ironmen would like to win and then have Danville beat Peoria on Saturday because Normal plays at Danville the following week, so they would have a chance to
get a share.
There, yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting that one of those two teams has got to lose on Saturday.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a time in second place, and only somebody's going to be staying alone. Normal, of course, Marshawn Dixon has been the story of the offense. He had a huge game last week against the LincolnWay up there. 163 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a long touchdown run, I think, there at the end that kind of sealed it. And he's got great speed and has just had a terrific year.
Yeah, you said that's got to be that's a feather in the cap type of win when you go on the road for a ranked non-conference opponent too. I think Normal's really got to be proud coming off of that one.
Yeah, and that's I think it was probably one of the better defenses that Normal's faced all year, and to come away with a win and Normal's defense played great. They actually did not allow a point. The only points that LincolnWay West got was a return of a blocked punt. So Normal's defense actually pitched a shutout.
Yeah. A good showing.
Yeah.
Another good showing was Central Catholic last week. Max Mays had a huge game passing against IBC, and now they're going to visit Prairie Central, and as they keep on their quest for a Corn Belt title in the final year of the league.
Yeah, they've won 5 in a row and have really been on a good roll here. I know going to Prairie Central has always been a tough thing for them and U High over the years, and Prairie Central's got some weapons. I mean, Billy Prince, their quarterback, is I think he's thrown for 700 and some yards and rushed for right at 400. So he's a pretty good weapon in his own right. And but so that's a game that could be a good test for the Saints, and it's always a big hurdle to get a win on the road when you're trying to nail down a conference title.
Yeah, and I think last week Prairie Central gave Muhammad a tight game.
Yeah.
So I mean that's not going to be one that the Saints are going to be able to look past.
Yeah, what was that, 7-6? I think
Muhammad
and Saints are both 4-0 in the league. So yeah, Prairie Central they could give the Saints some difficulty.
Obviously, the Saints do have that massive weapon in Bobby Brady though this season. He's been in the kicking game, he's been great, and in the receiving game, and Max Mace has been able to find him plenty of times.
Yeah, Brady's on the field almost all the time, I think, between playing defensive back and, like you said, great receiver, great kick returner. I mean, he's somebody that opponents have to deal with on almost every play.
Yeah, we mentioned Muhammad. They're right there unbeaten in the Corn Belt with Central, and this time they're going to be coming here to town to play University High. The Pioneers are coming off a big win of their own.
Yeah, I would think their confidence has to be as high as it's been all year, coming off a 46-0 win at Olympia, and they had a good production out of the run game and the passing game, and obviously the defense had to have played great to have a shutout. So because Olympia, even though they're winless, they have had some games where they've scored pretty good amount of points. So to shut them out was a pretty good feather in their cap.
Yeah, and a huge game offensively by Jeremiah Carter for the Pioneers. It was 199 yards and 3 touchdowns in the ground game.
Yeah,
so.
I think even though Muhammad's 4-0 in the league and everything, I mean, this is a game I think U High could possibly win. Muhammad's kind of done it quietly. I think they start out with a couple of losses, and they just kind of quietly, and all of a sudden you look up and they're 4-2 and 4-0 in the league. So this could be a really good game, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned that 7-6 game over Prairie Central. It looks like that Muhammad won that game because they got a block punt and they were able to kind of punch it in there late. And so they haven't really pulled away or blown anybody out, but they find ways to win.
Yeah.
So Normal West now, they got some big momentum last week with a big win over Bloomington and a huge game from Genesis Forest, and now they're going to go face winless Manual. They're still in must-win situation, but this is right time for them.
Yeah, that's right. That was, like you said, a huge win last week. It kept them in the playoff possibilities, and Manual has really struggled. I think Genesis Forest could have as many yards as Darren Hess wants him to have in this game, and I think I joked with you, he'll probably have 200 yards by the end of the first quarter, and that could be true.
It could be, but the one thing I talked to Genesis just yesterday, and the one thing he says, you don't want to look past anybody. You still got to go in and play better and make sure you finish, everything. And so they're not going to take them lightly, even though the record says they probably should.
Yeah.
Now Bloomington, they're going to try and bounce back from that game to West, and they're going to be at home against Superior Ridgewoods.
Yeah, and Bloomington I think is 3-3 at this point, and they really need a win in this game to kind of keep their keep on a playoff trajectory, because I think if they finish 5-4, they would their playoff points might not be enough to get in. So obviously they're going to be shooting for 6-3, and to do that you got to win out. And Ridgewoods has struggled. They're 1-5, but even though they got beat pretty handily by Peoria Notre Dame last week, they had a quarterback and a receiver who both had some pretty good numbers. So they've obviously got some skill position guys who can hurt you.
Yeah, and for the Purple Raiders too in last week's game, even though they did lose, they did put up 36 points. The offense did seem to be rolling. Colton Sandage had a pretty good game, and as always, Dominique Curdell is pretty good. So they've got their weapons.
Yeah, they can. Bloomington can put some points on you, and I expect them to probably score pretty high in this game. The only question will be if they can hold Ridgewoods down and not let them get on a roll as well.
Yeah. Looking over to the Heart of Illinois Conference, it's another week of cross-divisional play, so non-conference games. And this week, the matchup to watch is probably DMAC going over to Leroy. DMAC again, still right there with Tri-Valley at 1 and 2 in Class 2A, 1A, 2A,
2A, yeah.
and at the top of the conference, the HOI large.
Yeah.
The Chiefs just keep rolling.
Yeah, they do. They plugging in the area stats yesterday. I noticed that Jared Reese is averaging 15.2 yards a carry, and Preston Lester is averaging 12.4 yards a carry. I mean, those are just incredible numbers. I mean, that just shows you how dominant their line has been, and how hard that those guys run. And so it's going to be a tough task for Leroy, I think. And that's not slighting Leroy. That's just how good DMAC is, I think.
Yeah, I mean, in that defense too, they don't let you get anything on top of running.
Yeah, like last week they won 62-0. So obviously the defense has been terrific too. So that Week 9 game in DMAC and Tri-Valley should be a great game.
One last game to kind of take a quick look at is over in the Sangamon Valley. Well, 2 games actually. PBL's got a non-conference match with Oakwood, and Dwight's going to be at Moments. Dwight moved into second place in the league, right behind PBL now. So that race is kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah, Dwight. They're putting together one of the better seasons they've had in a while, and is it Austin Kavanaugh? I think the running back actually leads the area in rushing by just a few yards over Genesis Forest, and he's obviously had a great year. But PBL, they've got quite a few guys back from a really good team last year that gave Central Catholic all they wanted in the playoffs. So I would think maybe PBL would still be the favorite to win that league, but who knows?
Yeah, PBL has got a 5-1 record going into this non-conference game. They're still 3-0 in the league, and then game up on Dwight in the race. So, and a handful of other games to watch. The other Corn Belt game is Olympia at Pontiac. The team's trying to fight their way toward the top there.
Yeah.
And always, like I said, lots of cross-divisional games in the heart of Illinois. Tri-Valley's going to be at Fisher, and they're probably looking to remain.
I don't like the Bunnies' chances in that one. Nothing against them, but Tri-Valley is just so dominant.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for anyone to beat them.
And then from here, we're into the final 2 weeks. So
yeah, we can see this is the home stretch, and then it kind of starts all over again with the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's always an exciting time. So obviously got a ways to go yet, but it'll be fun to get in the playoffs.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show this week. As always, go to pentagraph.com to check out our live scores during the games on Friday night, and all our coverage will be on the website and in our Saturday morning section. Thanks.